All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about metadata. And I know, that word can sound pretty technical, maybe a little dry, but stick with me because we're going to see how metadata is actually the secret sauce that unlocks the real value in your data, turning it from just a bunch of numbers into a serious strategic asset.
You've been there, right? You're staring at a dashboard, a critical report, and that little voice in your head pipes up. Wait, where did this number actually come from? Is it even up to date? That single moment of doubt, that's exactly why we need to talk about metadata. It's the bedrock of data trust.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with what metadata really is. Then we'll break down the main types you need to know about and how to manage them. And finally, we'll connect all the dots to the big prize, making smarter decisions and building real organizational knowledge. Okay, first things first. What exactly is metadata? And why do we keep saying it's the foundation of trust?
You've probably heard the old definition, data about data. Honestly, that's selling it way short. Think of it more like a rich layer of knowledge that wraps around your data. It's the context, the backstory, the rulebook, everything that transforms a raw number from a technical thing into something a manager can actually bet their career on.
So if metadata is this rich layer of knowledge, what does it actually look like? Well, to really get it, we need to break it down into a few different types.
We can basically group all metadata into 5 key categories, and each one plays a really specific role. You've got business, technical, process, quality, and finally, administration metadata. Together, they give you the complete 360-degree view of your data. Let's take a look at each one.
So let's start with a pair, business and technical metadata. Just think of them as the what and the how. Business metadata is the translation layer. It turns something cryptic like COST_ID into plain English like customer identifier. This is the stuff that stops the marketing and sales teams from arguing over what a lead is. Then you have technical metadata. That's your classic data dictionary, the blueprint of your database schemas, tables, and all that good stuff.
Next up, process metadata. I love this one. The best way to think about it is as the data's life story, or its biography. It tells you exactly where the data was born, the entire journey it took to get to you, and every transformation or cleanup job that happened along the way. When a report looks funky, this is the audit trail that helps you find the problem in minutes, not weeks.
Now for what might be the most important type, quality metadata. This is basically your data's report card, or its certificate of authenticity. It gives you a trust score by measuring things like accuracy, completeness, and how current it is. This is what tells you whether that sales figure is 99% complete or, only 60%. Kind of crucial to know before you make a multi-million-dollar decision based on it, right?
And last but not least, administration metadata. This is your security guard and your librarian all rolled into one. It's the governance layer that controls who gets to see what data, what they can do with it, and it keeps a log of who accessed what, when. It ensures your data is not only trustworthy but also secure.
Okay, so we've got these 5 powerful types of metadata. The next big question is, how do you manage it all? Because let's be real, having this stuff scattered across 100 spreadsheets is a recipe for disaster. You need a unified strategy.
You really have 2 main paths you can go down. The first is a centralized repository, basically putting all your metadata into one big happy database. The upside, it's efficient and way easier to standardize. The downside, it can be a beast to set up and you're always worried about keeping it in sync. The other way is a distributed approach. Here, the metadata stays where it is and you just pull it when you need it. This is simpler with less maintenance, but good luck trying to standardize anything. It's a classic trade-off. Do you want more control or more agility?
So why on earth would you go through all this trouble, all this categorizing and managing? What's the real payoff? Well, it all comes down to one thing: making better, faster, and more confident decisions.
It all starts with knowing the story behind your numbers. Process metadata lets a decision maker see the data's entire journey, from its origin to their screen. That visibility is the very first step to building trust.
But look, knowing the journey isn't quite enough. You also need to know the condition of the data. That's where quality metadata comes in. It adds that critical trust score, telling you just how reliable that data actually is.
And this is where the magic happens. When you combine the data's journey with its trust score, all that doubt just melts away. You're not just looking at a number anymore. You're looking at a verifiable fact with a clear history. That is what lets you make decisions with real confidence.
But the story doesn't end with just making better one-off decisions. When you do this right, metadata actually becomes the foundation for building institutional knowledge that lasts. It helps you level up from just having data to being a truly data-wise organization.
This quote really nails it. Creating good metadata isn't just a technical chore. It's the act of codifying your business knowledge. You're literally embedding the rules, the context, and the business logic right alongside the data itself, turning it into a permanent, valuable asset.
So how does that actually work? Well, good metadata creates a common business language that everyone, from IT to marketing, can actually agree on. It formalizes all that tribal knowledge that usually just lives in people's heads. This means diverse teams can all work from the same playbook, which ultimately turns your raw data into something the whole company can use again and again.
All right, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Number 1, stop thinking of metadata as just a technical thing. It's a strategic asset. 2, if you want people to trust your data, you have to nail process and quality metadata. No shortcuts. 3, you need an integrated plan to manage all this. And finally, the big one. Get your metadata right, and you'll get more confident decisions and a much, much smarter organization. If you found this explainer valuable, do us a favor and hit that like button. Share it with a colleague and subscribe for more deep dives.
I'll leave you with one final thought to chew on. People love to say data is the new oil. Okay, fine. But raw crude oil straight out of the ground? It's not that useful. It has to go to a refinery to be turned into gasoline, jet fuel, and all the valuable stuff. So here's the question. Isn't metadata the refinery? Isn't it the essential process that turns raw, messy data into the high-octane fuel that powers a modern business? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.